Sorry to
Yeah,
jump in. We have a bunch of questions, and I definitely want
no
to get to
problem.
them in a short 20-minute block, which is one that OpenAI CTO Mira Murati recently said that some creative jobs will go away. It was a striking admission, and then she said, but maybe they shouldn't have been there in the first place. So we often hear, and I've heard it from you, that AI is just an amplifier of people's work. But just being real here, to what extent will this just replace a good number of jobs? And given what you're building, would you advise someone to go into customer service today?
It's a very nuanced and important question. And I think if you zoom out, and you look at the past, 200 years of technology adoption here in the United States, we've gone from an agrarian economy to an industrial economy to a services economy. And a lot of that has been driven by technology advancement. And I think that, if you look at even the past, 30 years, where you have the birth of the internet and the smartphone and how that's impacted jobs, we've seen a lot of both job displacement, but also new jobs emerge. And I think the same thing will likely happen with artificial intelligence. Some things will be automated because this next generation of technology affords the ability to automate, but also create new jobs. And one of the things that,
Net,
we've
is it displacement? Brett, net, is it displacement? Because actually the story of the past 2 decades has been that net, it was displacement. That's why you see massive political movements in many countries, especially in ours, uprising over this very issue.
I believe in the long term, new jobs will be created as well. I think the uncomfortable part of this technology is how quickly the technology will be adopted and how quickly we as society can reskill into those new jobs. And I think if you look at sort of the adoption as an example of the automated teller machine in banks, that took I'm not an expert in this, but it took probably a decade, right? And so today, there's still, I think, just as many people staffing bank branches as there were, but they're doing different jobs. I think the challenge with generative AI is the adoption curve might be more rapid. So I think in the short term, it's almost certain there will be some displacement of jobs because the software is being adopted more rapidly than I think the reskilling cycle that's necessary to sort of with these new jobs will happen. But I think over the long term, I really believe, and again, that's why I felt it was important to sort of zoom out and look at even the economy of the U.S. and how we've transformed over the years. I think new jobs will be created as well, and I think that I'm a real believer that this technology will drive productivity over time. I think it will really amplify our ability to do many new things that just weren't possible before. But I think that transition has always been hard. And I think, if you look back at the Luddites during the Industrial Revolution, you look back at, you look at the impact of globalization on the manufacturing base in the United States, these things are not easy. They're very complicated. So I don't mean to minimize it at all. But I am very optimistic about the positive impacts these technologies will have on society.